Are ringing, hope comes alive as music fills the air.
Prison Ministries International and Hanson Promotions proudly present the Christmas is Coming Tour on Saturday, December 2nd at the Mount Vernon Township High School Auditorium, featuring Jason Gray.
Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King.
It's Jason Gray, headlining the Christmas is Coming Tour on Saturday, December 2nd at the new Mount Vernon Township High School Auditorium. Enjoy this evening of Christmas stories, carols, and songs. Joining Jason Gray is Chris August.
I'll be home for Christmas. You can count on me.
You'll also enjoy the music and ministry of Hannah Kerr.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas.
It's Jason Gray, Chris August, and Hannah Kerr, all together at the Christmas is Coming Tour on Saturday, December 2nd at the new Mount Vernon Township High School Auditorium. Tickets are on sale right now through iTickets.com. Advance tickets are $15. VIP tickets are $30. Get more information by visiting the Vine website at wvyn.org and mark your calendar for the Christmas is Coming Tour on Saturday, December 2nd, featuring Jason Gray, Chris August, and Hannah Kerr at the new Mount Vernon Township High School Auditorium. Sponsored by Hanson Promotions and welcomed by local Christian radio, 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine.
Real Life Radio, 90.9 The Vine.
90.9 The Vine, in conjunction with AreaSports.net, proudly presents The Sports Couch. The Sports Couch is the area's only locally produced weekly sports show that is live on FM radio and also streamed live on both of our websites at AreaSports.net and WVYN.org. Who will be on the couch this morning? Let's find out. The Sports Couch is on the air right now. And hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Couch here live on the radio on 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine, and also streaming live on both of our websites this morning. We have live video streaming right now at AreaSports.net and live audio streaming at WVYN.org. I'm Randy Olson. Good to have you along. It's the 21st day of October, and we've wrapped up the regular season in high school football, ready to move on to the playoffs, and we're going to be talking to some playoff coaches this morning and reviewing a lot of the games from last night. We'll have Coach Justin Townsend of the Fairfield Mules on with us in just a moment. They wrapped up a perfect 9-0 season last night with their win at home against Sesser-Valier. We'll also talk to Coach John Shadowens of Sesser-Valier. They are 8-1. They'll be heading into the playoffs. Both those teams should get home football playoff games, and of course, the entire football pairings will be released tonight by the IHSA. That'll start show about 8 o'clock later on tonight. That'll be televised in some areas. We'll also talk to Coach Brett Hefner this morning on the show. He is the coach of the Effingham Flaming Hearts. They are in Class 4A, whereas Fairfield and Sesser-Valier are in 3A. But the 4A Hearts, they will also be headed to the playoffs with an 8-1 record. So we'll talk to him about his team and their win last night. We're also going to talk to the golf coach at the girls' golf coach at Nashville High School. That's Doug Kell, as the Nashville Hornets golf team just finished third place in the state. We will talk about their successful golf season with Coach Doug Kell this morning from Nashville. We're also going to visit with Coach Robert Crow from Hamilton County. He is the Junior Lady Foxes basketball coach down there at Hamilton County, and they're off to a 2-1 start and have some high aspirations for the team this year, particularly coming off all the success they had in softball this year as well. So a lot to get to on the show this morning. We'll kind of give you a preview of the football playoffs and what we think might happen. We'll be talking to those coaches along the way, and then also giving you some other things happening there as well. In high school football last night, of course, in the Black Diamond Conference, it was the game of the year as far as the regular season goes, as Fairfield held on to beat Sesser-Valier last night 18-6. The Mules never trailed in that one. Sesser-Valier was intercepted in the red zone in the second half, but it was a very, very physical game, and Very well played game, actually, as the Mules beat the Red Devils 18-6. Chester over Edwards County last night in a shootout, 47-35. Hamilton County got their first win of the season. The Foxes beat CZR 62-14. El Dorado closed out Johnston City's season 30-8. And today, a very important game at Vienna, as Vienna comes in at 4-4. And they have to win today to make themselves playoff eligible. And they got a pretty good chance of getting in the playoffs if they can win today. But their opponent, the Carmi Bulldogs, that won't be easy. That game is this afternoon at 1 o'clock at Vienna. The Little Illini last night, it was Olney over Casey Westfield 28-20. Red Hill beat Flora 38-0. Marshall punched their ticket to the playoffs as they beat Lawrenceville 53-6. Newton and Paris, two teams that are going to the playoffs, squared off last night. Newton won that one over Paris 45-35. In the South Central Conference, here's a bunch of teams that you could see as playoff opponents for either Fairfield or Sesser-Valier down the road here. Greenville beat Carlinville last night, 35-28. First loss of the season last night for Carlinville. They're 8-1 as Greenville improves to 7-2. Piasaw Southwestern beat Gillespie 46-22. Hillsboro shut out Litchfield 48-0. That Hillsboro team is 6-3. They're in the playoffs. They could be an opponent down the road. Staunton beat Roxana 33-6. Vandalia over Pana last night in a high-scoring affair, 55-49. The Vandals are also headed to the playoffs. They are 7-2. Non-conference action last night. Anna Jonesboro closed out a perfect 9-0 season as they beat Benton 62-28 as the Wildcats are headed to the playoffs. And if you want to look way down the road in Class 3A football playoffs, yes, Anna Jonesboro looms as a possible opponent again for either Fairfield or Sesser-Valier down the road. Belleville-Altoff beat Houston Christian Texas last night down in Texas, 42-14. Altoff is in the 4A playoffs with a record of 7-2. Waterloo over Breeze Mater Dei, 28-21. Carlisle beat Pinckneyville 38-14. Carterville's in the playoffs. They beat Massac County 47-21. Here's another opponent that you could see early on for one of these local teams in high school football playoffs in Class 3A, and that is East Alton-Wood River. They won their game last night, 32-14. They are in the playoffs, coming in at 7-2. Freeburg beat Lincoln last night, 56-41. Harrisburg got eliminated from playoff contention last night as they lost at Carbondale, 32-22. Now, the Bulldogs were thought to be a possible first-round opponent for the Fairfield Mules. Harrisburg's not going to be in the playoffs now as they finish 4-5. Heron over Breeze Central 49-0. Highland over Charleston 63-6. Centralia beat Mascoutah 42-14. Marion makes the playoffs for the 13th year in a row. They beat Mattoon last night 56-0. Mount Carmel over Mount Vernon last night, coming from behind to beat the Rams 33-28. Mount Carmel sneaks in the playoffs at 5-4. They could be the first round opponent for either Fairfield or Sesser-Valier. Also, Effingham a winner last night over Salem, 48-15. Redbud beat Sparta, 55-13. Triad over Mount Zion, 21-7. Taylorville over Bethalto, 40-6. And Nashville beat West Frankfort, 42-38. West Frankfort could also be that first-round opponent for either Fairfield or Sesser, as West Frankfort comes in now at 5-4, but they should have enough playoff points to get in. And again, all that will be decided and determined tonight during the playoff show. Announcements made by the IHSA beginning at 8 o'clock tonight. When we come back, we're going to talk to Coach Justin Townsend of the Mules about last night's big win and what we look for in the playoffs. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
It's the local sports talk show that everyone is talking about. It's the Sports Couch on 90.9 The Vine and AreaSports.net.
105.5 and 90.9 The Vine would like to thank Mount Vernon Wynn Nelson for underwriting support. With a newly remodeled showroom and over 100 years of combined service, Mount Vernon Wynn Nelson is the place for plumbing parts and supplies. They are located at 2230 Benton Road, and their hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Their phone number is 618-244-3100, and you can find them on Facebook. Real Life Radio thanks Mount Vernon Wynn Nelson for underwriting support.
You've heard the old saying, practice makes perfect. Well, there's actually a lot of truth to that, and you can get one-on-one instruction in baseball, softball, basketball, as well as speed and agility drills at the Sports Zone in Fairfield. The Sports Zone has been in business for quite some time now and has helped many area boy and girl athletes excel in their sport of choice. Lessons and practice times are available at convenient times that meet your schedule. The Sports Zone is located on Delaware Street in Fairfield, and we appreciate their support. Welcome back to the Sports Couch. You're live on a busy Saturday morning on 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine Radio, and also streaming live worldwide on both of our websites, live video streaming at AreaSports.net and live audio streaming at WVYN.org. I'm Randy Olson, live in studio. Of course, the game of the year last night in regular season play was the game at the Train Yard as the Fairfield Mules tangled with Sesser-Valier, both teams coming in at 8-0. I think that's the first time, somebody told me that's the first time in like 40 years that two 8-0 teams have played for the conference championship there at the end of the season in Week 9, so it was really a cool setting. It was definitely a playoff atmosphere last night. Mules win it 18-6. They're now 9-0. Sesser-Valier 8-1. Both teams headed to the playoffs next week. They'll find out who their opponent is later on tonight. Joining us on the phone right now is head coach Justin Townsend. Coach, congratulations. Big win last night, and what an atmosphere.
Yeah, it was, first of all, thank you, and, man, was it fun. It was definitely the place to be if you were in Fairfield.
It really was, and there was a lot of people there last night, and they got there early, and it's a good thing they did because we had quite a crowd and couldn't ask for better weather either. Everything was just perfect last night.
No, everything went according to plan, including the Mules winning. So, yeah, it was just an awesome night and awesome environment. Something I think people are going to remember forever, and that's the type of atmosphere you want to have. 60 years since we've had an undefeated regular season. 1957 was the last time. So, truly history was made last night.
Well, and it's the first time to have an undefeated season since the IHSA started this playoff type of thing, too. So it's a first, and how exciting it is. And now you're awaiting your opponent tonight, but we'll get to that in a moment. But let's talk about last night's game. It was a physical game. I got to give a lot of credit to Sesser-Valier, and they were very tough in the trenches last night, and I thought both teams tackled very well.
I was just thinking that when you were talking about Sesser, and my comment was going to be, I don't know that they really missed a lot of tackles last night. They really flew to the football well. They tackled well. They gang tackled. Our backs all year, I've been on them. I really want us to be able to fall forward and get that extra yard rather than getting pushed back. And it seemed like there were several times last night where, most games this season we're able to fall forward and grind out that extra yard. They gang tackled well, and we weren't able to do that. I thought both defenses played excellent. I really did against two pretty good offensive teams. I knew going in this was going to be our stiffest test offensively just because they're so balanced, one, and then they have so many weapons. And, I talked on the radio a few times last night. That's what makes Sesser, in my opinion, hard to defend. A lot of these teams in our conference, you can kind of key on one guy. That's going to be their main guy. They have 3 or 4 guys that can beat you at any given moment. And, whether it's the quarterback Smith or the Gunters or Rock, who hurt us a little bit in that one series, they just have a lot of weapons, and that really makes them tough to defend. But once again, our defense was up to the challenge and responded and been a little bit, but we didn't break and, held a very good offensive team to 1 touchdown.
Yeah, I thought what you said was absolutely true about both defenses playing very well last night. And in that first quarter, that's what it was, a defensive struggle. Both teams were hitting each other with punches, and nobody faltered as you kind of, just traded possessions that first quarter, and it was definitely a defensive struggle, no score after 1 period.
Yeah, and then I kind of felt like we made a few adjustments. We saw some things that maybe we could take advantage of, and I do think some of the physicality. I think with what we do, we start to wear teams down a little bit. I think that started to show a little bit because there definitely was some pads popping on both sides last night. And then we started to grind it out a little bit and, started to attack them on the perimeter. and then we'd widen them out and we'd go back underneath, and we just started to do what we typically do, and really I thought the game, when we were able to get that first score in, they come down, they get a score. I thought really one of the most important series was that drive before half. We were going to be content to go into halftime tied because we knew we had the ball coming out in the second half. And then when we got pretty good field position on the return, Alec Pruitt made a great play extending a pass play and getting it to Wyatt Gilbert, who extended that. And, then we were able to punch that in with the touchdown pass right before half. I really thought that was a big momentum swing and a big booster for our kids.
Oh, I agree. And again, the first score of the game was the Mules on a 7-yard run by Jolly to put the Mules up 6-0. But, yeah, you got to give credit to Sesser. They bounced right back and had a long sustained drive of 75 yards, and they get it in with the quarterback keeper, Clayton Smith, to tie it at 6-6. And you're right. Then that drive after that and scoring with less than 10 seconds left in the half was huge on that pass from Pruitt to Dag.
Yeah, I like I said, and there were some other plays that were big. Kids really stepped up there. We've had a situation, much like last week, in our El Dorado game, we got the ball real deep in their territory, and we were just trying to get it out on it. Next thing you know, you hit a play or two, and then you're thinking, well, maybe we can get something here, and that's kind of how this was, and so then to get the ball going into the second half and take it down and get another score, get up those 2 touchdowns, even though we couldn't get those 2-point conversions, I was, and at the time, that was very concerning to me, because in 2009 we lost on a 2-point conversion, so that was definitely in the back of the line. Those tight games, those are huge, and we just couldn't get those punched in each time, so. But our kids responded well. Our defense stepped up. Jackson Kronovich had a big interception in the red zone and then was able to bring it out, 10, 15 yards and give us a little room. And I thought really that was kind of the turning point of the game where you started to feel like, okay, it's going to be our night and we're going to be able to close this out.
Well, I think that, scoring right there to start the second half was big, but the other thing was that you chewed up a lot of clock. You killed about 8 minutes on that drive, and so now Sesser finds themselves down by 2 touchdowns, and time's starting to get away.
Yeah, and I think that's a very good point. We were very methodical that first possession in the second half, and, we got some conversions on third down, and we were just kind of started to chunk them a little bit. And we saw some things at halftime we felt like we'd go to. Reese Lee, White Gilbert had some good runs on the perimeter. Jolly hit some traps for us again. And that's what you want. You want your kids to step up. Our offensive line did a great job. They have a pretty good sized physical group up front. Peyton Rock is a heck of a linebacker. They're very good defensively, and they made some adjustments too. But our guys were able to counter that and grind it out and get that important 2-touchdown lead.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the big interception there to start the fourth quarter when Sesser is in the red zone, and that was big for your defense.
Yeah, they just tried to. I think their coach maybe their quarterback read a blitz and he tried to get it out quick, and Skylar Gray came up and put a big hit on their, I think it was Gunter, number 12 for him, and he was playing slot receiver at the time. Ball pops up, and Jackson grabs it and takes it out to about the 15 or 20, I think. And, from there we were able to grind it out and at least switch up field position and eat up some more time. And, at that point, I don't think Sesser got the ball back until about 4 minutes to go. Give or take, and at that point you're feeling pretty good about things.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about potential playoff opponent. We'll find out tonight with that IHSA playoff show beginning at 8 o'clock. As I'm looking at the numbers this morning, I'm seeing teams on there that could be an opponent, such as a West Frankfort, a Mount Carmel, but there's a big game this afternoon in Vienna that could play a role, too, as Vienna takes on Carmi, and Vienna comes in 4-4.
Yeah, I haven't, last night, if everything went according to plan, I could have probably told you who were going to play. I really thought, I thought Harrisburg, if they beat Carbondale, was a very good possibility.
Mm-hmm.
West Frankfort, if they won, I thought they were a possibility. Now I'm not sure that they're going to have enough points. And then the thing that really is interesting is Carlinville getting beat last night.
Right.
Because that state does crazy stuff, but I mean, unless they send Williamsville south, we should have the number 1 seed now. And that's awesome. That's great. But the other thing that you're running into is there's not going to be any 5 and 4 teams in the South, I believe, unless Vienna wins today. And I think if they win, that would be our opponent, but that's going to be a tough task. With what Carmi does offensively and what they have on defense, as far as they're pretty physical up front. That's going to be a tough task, but strange things happen, down there in Vienna that last Saturday of the regular season. So
yeah. Well, and Mount Carmel's only got 33 playoff points, it looks like, and so they probably are not going to get in. Even though they won last night, they're probably not going to get in because they only have 33 playoff points. But West Frankfurt's got 34, so they got a better chance. And again, it depends upon what Vienna does.
I do not think they will get in, but I don't know. I haven't looked at it enough. I saw that, before all these teams started losing, they had the playoff number. It was as high as 38.
Yeah.
So, but now when you start having some of these teams lose that you were counting on being in, or you have these, these teams going into last night 5 and 3. Don't have a lot of points, but you really think they're going to win the Week 9 games, so they're going to be 6 and 3. Then you're not worried about points. Well, then when those teams lose, you got to kind of start reshuffling things.
Right.
And there's 3 or 4 guys online on Illinois High School Sports that spend a lot of time on it, and they're usually pretty accurate. I haven't looked this morning, but I'm sure theirs have probably shook up a little bit after all the upsets last night.
Yeah.
I think back up north, St. Joe Ogden was a team going into Week 9, 4-4, playing Monticello, who I believe was 7-1. St. Joe Ogden is up 12 with 2 minutes to go. Monticello scores, gets the onside kick, scores, and they end up beating them. So, at the time, we're down in the coach's office thinking, okay, St. Joe Ogden may be a possibility. They could get pushed south 5-4. Well, next thing you know, Monticello's got an onside kick, and they go in and win it. So then, St. Joe's eliminated. So
right.
Just when you think you have it, start to narrow it down and start to trying to use your resources to get film. You're better off just waiting, I guess, until you see it on the screen because it's hard to figure out. And
You're right.
With us being, one of the farther northern Southern Illinois teams. I don't know if that makes sense. We've been sent north, we've been sent south, we've been sent east and west. We get, we've been to Mount Carmel, we've been over to Breeze Central before, we've been over to Columbia. We've gone up north to Pittsfield, or we played Marshall. So we're one of those teams that's on the line, and we don't really always have an idea where we're going.
Yeah. Well, and a couple other teams that are going to figure in it somewhere, somehow, is going to be Hillsboro and Marshall, both coming in at 6 and 3. So they're going to be in the mix somehow, too. Yeah.
Marshall's a possibility, too. The big thing we were trying to figure out with Marshall, as opposed to Hillsboro, Marshall did play a non-conference opponent this year in Geneseo, and they either went 4-5 or 5-4. We couldn't find their score last night. So whereas a close conference opponent is going to have a set number of points, Marshall potentially could have more or less than a close conference, and that was something that could potentially affect their seeding. You know, we were trying to figure out, are they going to be lower than Hillsboro? You know, are they going to be lower than a team that's 6-3 and in a close conference?
Right.
Or are they going to be above all those teams? Another team that has popped up a few times is Vandalia.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I know they're a very, very good offensive team. They put up a lot of points. So, you know, it's going to be a year where I don't think there's going to be any gimmies.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to be ready to go.
Absolutely. Well, again, congratulations on the win last night, 9-0. Definitely a historic night for Fairfield Mules football, and look forward to the playoffs next week. We'll find out later on tonight who that opponent is. So,
Okay.
All right. Appreciate it. Thanks, Coach. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye-bye. It's Coach Justin Townsend of the Fairfield Mules. Again, big win last night over Sesser-Valier by a score of 18-6. We're going to try to connect with Coach John Shadowens here of Sesser-Valier in just a little bit and get his perspective not only on last night's game, but also kind of get his viewpoint as to who he thinks the Red Devils will play in the first round of the playoffs. All that and more coming up as the Sports Couch continues. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
It's the local sports talk show that everyone is talking about. It's the Sports Couch on 90.9 The Vine and AreaSports.net.
Are you going out of town for a vacation or a weekend getaway? What are you going to do with your dog? That's easy. There's Jaggers Doggy Daycare in Mount Vernon. Jaggers Doggy Daycare is your one-stop shop for overnight dog boarding, doggy daycare, as well as dog grooming and obedience dog training. It's your dog's home away from home. They will thrive and they'll get one-on-one attention by a great staff. More information is available on the web at jaggersdoggydaycare.com. Jaggers Doggy Daycare, 414 Main Street in Mount Vernon. And welcome back to the Sports Couch here live on a Saturday morning on 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine Radio, and also streaming live worldwide on both of our websites. Live video streaming right now at AreaSports.net and live audio streaming at WVYN.org. I'm Randy Olson live in studio. And last night, of course, the Black Diamond Conference. What a game it was. It was certainly the game of the year in the regular season anyway, as Fairfield held on to beat Sesser-Valier by a score of 18-6. Sesser-Valier drops to 8-1, but that is a very, very good football team, and they're going to be a handful for somebody in the playoffs. Let's visit with Coach John Shadowens right now. John, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine.
Great. Good to have you on the show. I know that's a tough loss last night, but so many positives to take out of it for your team, I think, and you've got a good ball club that fought to the very end last night. That was a great atmosphere and a great football game.
It was. It was a great way to end. And, you know, 2-8-0 teams playing there in Week 9 doesn't happen very often at all, maybe once in 50 years. So it was special to be a part of it.
Absolutely it was. And boy, the fan base that you brought from Sesser-Valier and Woodlawn and Waltonville, I can't say enough with all the fans that were there last night. The support was tremendous.
It sure was. You know, the communities, all four of them, were awfully excited and got behind the kids and just what you want to see. And that's what high school sports is all about. You know, sometimes it's more than winning and losing. Sometimes it's just seeing people like that come together from different walks of life and diverse backgrounds, and it was really neat.
Well, while roaming the sidelines last night and watching the game firsthand myself, I was struck by the physicality of the game last night. Boy, I mean, you could really hear the pads hitting last night. It was a very physical game, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's playoff intensity, what that is, and that wasn't a regular Black Diamond game. It was very intense, and it was a quality that's usually above an average Black Diamond game. I agree, partly because of the magnitude, partly because the two teams are pretty good.
I thought that the tackling that was done by your team was very good last night. So many times, you know, you did such a good job of wrapping up the Mule ball carriers, and many times even throwing them for a loss. And I just thought your tackling was very, very well done last night.
Well, that's very nice to hear, Randy. Appreciate the compliment there. But the defense has been a work in progress. We've been known for our offense this year, so it was nice to see the defense rise up against a very good football team and hold them under 20 points.
Yeah, absolutely, because that's a hard thing to do. I mean, Mules have got a high-octane offense, and to hold them to under 20 is saying something. And, of course, on each of the 3 touchdowns they scored, you also held them out on the 2-point conversions. And so, you know, that can loom large in a game of that intensity as well. But So I know you got to be proud of your guys, 8-1, and now you kind of await tonight to see what the IHSA is going to do as far as a playoff opponent. Do you have any feeling or idea of who that opponent might be?
Not after what happened the last 2 weeks, with Frankfurt getting beat last night, and then Harrisburg, of course, falling to Carbondale, and Benton getting beat the week before. That's thrown things into a tizzy. There may not be any 5-4 teams left in 3A, which means the 9-0 team's going to get 6-3 teams. So we're going to be playing somebody awfully good next Saturday. Yeah,
I think so. That's a big game today with Vienna, of course, at home playing Carmi. I mean, Vienna does have a chance to get in if they can beat Carmi today and go 5-4. I agree with you, though. It may be tough for 5-4 teams to get in. I mean, Mount Carmel won last night. They are 5-4, but they appear to have only 33 playoff points, so they probably won't get in. West Frankfurt lost last night to Nashville. They've got 34 playoff points. Is that enough to get in? I don't know about that. So you're right. It may be bumped up to seeing 6-3 teams like Hillsboro or Marshall as a first-round opponent.
That's what I'm thinking right now, yeah.
Yeah, Harrisburg was a possible first-round opponent for either you or Fairfield, but, of course, the Bulldogs lost last night to Carbondale, so they're out of it at 4-5. So you never know what the IHSA is going to do on this situation, do you?
No, you don't. And you don't spend much time worrying about it either. We're just going to do what we do today, and which is wait because, there's nobody to prepare for yet. So right now we're doing a little basketball practice with junior high and just waiting it out. Yeah,
I mean, you can't go get any game film from anybody until you know who to get game film from. I mean, that's really the way it is.
Right.
Yeah. But looking back on the game last night and assessing the performance of your team, I mean, again, you've got to be happy with, even though you lost last night, you've got to be happy with a lot of things that came out of that because you've got an offense that can score a lot of different ways, and that was on display last night. Even though they kept you out of the end zone other than that one time, I mean, you were able to move the ball on the Mules last night, which is something a lot of teams have not been able to do.
That's true. We know we have some weapons, and we try to be diversified and use them and throw the ball a little bit too. So, hats off to that Mule defense. One of the best Black Diamond defenses come around in the playoffs. El Dorado was pretty good last year too. Don't want to take anything away from them. But that's an awfully good Black Diamond defense in Fairfield this year.
Yeah. Well, I would love nothing more than to see the Red Devils and the Mules get wins in the first round of the playoffs, and that would be good for the conference as well as good for each of your football programs. I hope that becomes a reality, and we anxiously await who the opponents are later on tonight. But, John, again, we congratulate you on a great season thus far, and best of luck as you move into the playoffs, and we wish you well.
Thanks so much, Randy. We appreciate it.
All right, take care. All right, bye-bye. That is John Shadowens, head coach of the Sesser-Valier Red Devils, and, that's a good football team. Make no mistake about it. I mean, they, even though Fairfield scored 18 points last night, Sesser did a great job defensively and held them in check in many ways. And, again, I can't get over how hard they hit last night, and you could hear the pads popping last night. It was something else if you were down on the field. And, on those 3 touchdowns that the Mules scored, Sesser-Valier kept them out of the end zone on the 2-point conversions all 3 times. And, again, that's not easy to do either. So that speaks volumes, I think, for what Coach Shadowens has done with that football program there at Sesser-Valier. And when you think about the fact that, he's come back to coach, and this is his 3rd year back after laying out a while. And you look at how, it just keeps crescendoing up. I mean, he just keeps building that program up and building it up and building it up. And I want to tell you, he's got some young guys. He's got some young guys on that football team that are coming along here in the next couple of years, and they're going to continue to be a force in high school football in the Black Diamond Conference. But we really hope that both Sesser and Fairfield are able to get an opponent in the playoffs that they can handle in Class 3A, and look forward to find out who those opponents are and to be able to provide more information here in the next week or so. Class 4A playoffs, the Effingham Hearts will be in the playoffs. They are 8-1 after they won their game last night to wrap up the regular season, as Effingham was a winner last night over Salem, 48-15. We are going to visit with Coach Brett Hefner of the Effingham Hearts to talk about his team and the 4A playoffs. We'll do that coming up next here on the Sports Couch. Stay tuned.
It's the local sports talk show that everyone is talking about. It's the Sports Couch on 90.9 The Vine and AreaSports.net.
This is your home for best Christian music.
WVYN, Blueford, Wayne City, Fairfield, Mount Vernon.
And now on Translator, W288CO Centralia, broadcasting at 105.5.
A service of Real Life Radio Foundation.
The best Christian music. 90.9 The Vine.
Accidents happen. It's part of life. But when an accident occurs with your car or truck, you can count on the professionals at Sesser Auto Body in Sesser. Whether you have a collision with a deer, a building, a parking post, or another vehicle, Sesser Auto Body in Sesser can restore your car or truck to look like nothing ever happened. That's why many people in Southern Illinois refer to Sesser Auto Body as the Collision Pros. We appreciate the underwriting support of Sesser Auto Body in Sesser.
105.5 and 90.9 The Vine is proud to partner with Mount Vernon's newest family eatery, La Fiesta Mexican Restaurant. La Fiesta offers a family-friendly, Christian-owned, alcohol-free environment the whole family will enjoy. Located at 901 Prairie Avenue in Mount Vernon, La Fiesta offers daily specials that are easy on the family wallet. And children 5 and under eat free on Sundays. Their hours are 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. La Fiesta Mexican Restaurant in Mount Vernon, a proud underwriter on Real Life Radio.
And welcome back to the Sports Couch. You're live on a Saturday morning on 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine Radio, and also streaming live worldwide on both of our websites. We have live video streaming right now at AreaSports.net and live audio streaming at WVYN.org. I'm Randy Olson, live in studios just after 9 o'clock, and Class 4A football playoffs. We're going to find out who those pairings are going to be or what they're going to be here later on tonight. Effingham Flaming Hearts will certainly be in the mix there as they wrapped up an 8-1 season last night as they beat Salem to wrap up the regular season by a score of 48-15. And with us on the phone right now is head coach Brett Hefner. Hey, Brett, how are you this morning?
Good. How you doing?
Great. Congratulations on the win last night, and 8-1, and that is such an improvement over last year. And you just got to be so excited about the regular season and looking forward to the playoffs.
Yeah, we are. You know, the kids came a long way. We talked about last night with them after the game to think of where they started 3 years ago to where they're at now. And where they put the program and the direction they have it going is phenomenal, and they deserve all the credit in the world. We had a great senior night. We had 19 seniors, so it was great to have a big win for them and to finish out the regular season the right way. And we'll find out tonight about 8:40 what direction we're heading from a playoff standpoint.
Yeah, when I talked to you on the show a couple of weeks ago, you were sitting at 6-1, and we talked about these final two opponents and how important those games were to take care of business with Mattoon and Salem, and you went out and you did that, and that puts you in such a better position tonight as you look at the playoff pairings, sitting there at 8-1 as opposed to 6-3 or 7-2, right?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's nice knowing that at least round one you're going to be at home.
Yeah,
which is a big advantage, and then. All you want to do is get in and, the old term, survive in advance. But, we wanted to go into next week with some momentum, and we got off to a slow start last night, and then the team that I'd seen for the last 8 weeks decided to show up and play and took care of business for the last, 3.5 quarters. So we've got some good momentum heading in, and we got out of it healthy again. So we're certainly excited.
Well, as I look at possible opponents for the Effingham Hearts in Class 4A playoffs, some teams that pop out to me are potentially Mount Zion, Benton, Columbia, maybe even Paris. Mount Zion, Benton, and Columbia are 5-4. Paris is 6-3. You got a feel for who you think it might be?
I don't. I tell you what, from my time up north, there's a guy out of Kankakee newspaper that I don't know how he does it. He must never sleep, but he goes through and does all the predictions and all that. And he's had us all over the place. I've seen Carterville, I've seen Columbia, I've seen Paris. there were some scores that happened up north last night that people weren't expecting, and it sounds like, at least from what I've seen from him, that it's going to push that number. And like, I think Highland's going to drop down to 4A. I think Rochelle's going to drop down to 4A. So now, does that push? Does Herscher still come south, or does Herscher stay north? So I think that's where you get into some things. And Tolono got beat, and with Herscher getting beat last night, those were two of the top 4 seeds that he had predicted. So that would put the undefeateds in 4A as Rochester and Highland. And Rochester would be the 1 seed because they've got more playoff points than Highland. So it'd be interesting to see how it shakes out. I don't know what games are still left to play today. I know he had the playoff point total pretty high, that you had to have 39 points to even be considered to get in.
Yeah, and Mount Zion barely hits that at 39, I think, with that 5-4 record. Benton at 41, though, you would think they would be in, and that's not a big distance away, Benton to Effingham. Columbia also not that great a distance compared to some possible matchups. They're 5-4, so who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. I said last night I'm a little different than everybody else. I think football is a little different. It wouldn't bother me to see them do it the way they do the big schools and just go 1 through 32. And if you're traveling a long way, you play the game on Saturday, you meet halfway in between and play at a neutral site game, at a neutral site place. And I think if you get a handful of teams that in a group of 16 or a group of 32 are 3 of the better teams in the state, and they all end up in the same area, well, that's not good either. And I know they've tried to eliminate that by going to 16 instead of quads, but it could still happen. But anyway, we're happy. We're certainly happy to be in, and we'll look forward to going and playing wherever they tell us we got to play. We go to the moon if we have to.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, that's really what it's all about. What you mentioned though earlier about possibly Highland dropping down to 4A. Wow, that's a tough opponent right there.
I'd say there were two impressive things that I saw last night. Their scores all year. We played them last year. And they gave it to us pretty good at our place last year. So, and we knew they had a lot of guys back. So we're very understanding of how good they are. The other thing that was impressive last night, if this is correct, I swear I heard Coach Leonard at Rochester say that they had not had a single turnover all year offensively.
Wow.
Which is I thought maybe okay. I had to rewind it and make sure that I heard him correctly, but I'm almost positive. I know their quarterback hasn't thrown an interception, so Highland dropping down to 4A. Rochester hadn't had a turnover all year. So 4A South, there'll be a couple formidable people to go through.
Yeah, well, you know how they are at Rochester up there. I mean, football's so serious up there in Rochester that they start showing them game film when they're 6 months old.
Yeah, they've been on a pretty good run, and and at some point, if you're going to make a run, you're going to see them. You're going to see Highland. You're not going to see anybody that's not good in the playoffs. So we've got some things that we got to clean up from last night. I certainly think that we can get on a little bit of a run, and I think we're going to be a tough out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think you're going to be a tough out too. I don't think there's any question about that. I mean, what a successful season that you've had, and you've played some pretty good opponents this year too. I mean, you've not had a bunch of patsies there. So
no, our conference, and who we play is pretty good. So we feel prepared going in.
Yeah. Heron's another opponent from down south. I mean, you wouldn't play them early on, but you could see them down the road. But they're 8-1, and boy, they've had a great year too. They're a tough cookie.
Yeah, I keep seeing their scores. They're scoring a lot of points too.
Yes, they are.
So they must be awfully good offensively as well. So I think the 4A South bracket's going to be a tough one. And like I said, it's going to be interesting with Geneseo getting in and the AF set Morris last night. So. Does that shake the brackets? Does somebody else come south? It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. All right. Everybody come out of your game healthy last night. That's a big question.
Yeah, they did. We've got just a couple minor things, but nothing that they couldn't have continued to play.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get them treatment at the beginning of the week, and by the weekend they should be good to go.
Okay. And I think last time we talked a few weeks ago, you said you were anticipating maybe getting a couple guys back in time by playoffs. Are those guys going to be back with you?
Yeah, we're good. We're good, and we've stayed healthy, and Terrence has stayed healthy, and we've had a couple other guys that just were dealing with some nagging injuries. that they played and they fought through it, and but they're much healthier now, and we should be squared up and good to go.
All right, so you have a big viewing party with the team tonight to kind of anticipate who the opponent will be, or how do you handle it?
Well, the team, we're very fortunate. Heartland Dental here in town. So the team and the moms, they're going to get together there. We're very fortunate. We've got a great group of football moms, and so they're going to kind of be in charge of the kids tonight. And I think they're going to have some things going for them at Heartland Dental in a conference room there. The coaching staff will be someplace different, just because there's a lot of, as soon as that thing's announced, there's a lot of logistical things that we've got to talk about, and it's a little bit easier if we've got a quiet area, and we're not getting a million questions from our kids. Who we playing, what day, are they any good, what do they do, all those things. So it's a little bit easier if we're off by ourselves, and once that announcement's made, we can kind of decide, what film we want. Do we know anybody that we can call that can help
right.
us? And then try and get a hold of, the administration and try and get a date and time set up and all that. So there's a lot of things that we have to do that's just a little bit easier if we're in a little bit more quiet setting.
Sure. No, I understand that completely. Yeah. Well, best of luck as you find out who the opponent is tonight and prepare for that opponent. And we anxiously await the opponent for the Effingham Hearts. Okay. Thanks for your time today, Brett.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much for the opportunity
you
to
bet.
speak with you. I certainly enjoy it. Thank you.
All right, Brett. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right.
Brett Hefner, head coach of the Effingham Hearts, as they beat Salem last night, and they wrap up a regular season at 8-1, and they anticipate who their opponent will be in the Class 4A playoffs. You heard him say that it looks like Highland may drop down into 4A. Holy cow. If you've watched the scores of the Bulldogs this year, man, as if it's not bad enough to have Rochester and Belleville-Altoff in your 4A bracket, now you may have Highland in there too. Yeah, okay. It's going to be an interesting chain of events as we find out tonight who makes the playoffs and who those opponents are. All right, well, when we come back, we are going to shift gears. We're going to talk a little bit of golf. That's right, as we're going to visit with the head coach of the Nashville Hornets, as the Hornets golf team just finished third place in the state in girls golf. We'll talk to Coach Doug Kell coming up next on the Sports Couch. Stay tuned.
It's the local sports talk show that everyone is talking about. It's the Sports Couch on 90.9 The Vine and AreaSports.net.
Most of us tend to take our printed materials for granted, but it's hard to imagine life today without print. Printing is communicating. Whether it's promotional, operational, or administrative, we're here to meet your printing needs. Peacock Print and Marketing has been serving the people in Southern Illinois since 1977. We're located at 1112 Jordan Street in Mount Vernon. Our phone number is 242-3157. Our website is peacockprinting.com. We believe in honoring God by serving our clients through print and marketing and helping them reach their full potential.
We get up early and we put our work gloves on and give a little smile as we slide the barn door open and finish off our coffee. It's tractor time. I just can't imagine life without a compact tractor anymore. Just hearing that Yanmar diesel engine start up make those chores seem a whole lot smaller. Yanmar compact tractors are that part of life that just keeps getting better. Just like wine, except with front wheel assist and power steering. We're Main Street Shop Fairfield. We have Yanmar tractors and lots of them.
Accidents happen. It's part of life. But when an accident occurs with your car or truck, you can count on the professionals at Sesser Auto Body in Sesser. Whether you have a collision with a deer, a building, a parking post, or another vehicle, Sesser Auto Body in Sesser can restore your car or truck to look like nothing ever happened. That's why many people in Southern Illinois refer to Sesser Auto Body as the Collision Pros. We appreciate the underwriting support of Sesser Auto Body in Sesser. And welcome back to the Sports Couch. Here live on a Saturday morning on 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine Radio, and also streaming live worldwide on both of our websites. We have live video streaming right now at AreaSports.net and live audio streaming at WVYN.org. I'm Randy Olson, live in studio. Danny not with us today. He is still trying to finish up that harvest season, but he'll be back with us here one of these Saturdays, so look forward to having him back with us. We're going to shift gears away from football for just a little bit. We're going to talk some girls golf right now. As you know, the state championships in high school girls golf was completed this past weekend, and the Nashville Hornets brought home third place in the state. How cool is that? We're going to visit with head coach Doug Kell of Nashville right now. Good morning, Doug. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Great. Good to have you on the Sports Couch. It's your maiden voyage here on the Sports Couch. Good to have you on the show as a guest, and congratulations on what's been a terrific season for you and your Nashville Hornets golf team.
Well, thanks a lot. It's great to be on, and always love talking about my team. And we have a exceptional year this year to talk about, so yeah, it's great to be here.
Well, you really do. And for those people who are watching our live video stream right now on AreaSports.net, I do have a photo of you and the girls on the screen right now with those beautiful medals around your neck. And let's talk about that experience. You got to be just thrilled and so happy and proud of the girls and what they accomplished.
Well, I am. There's no doubt about it. I mean, these girls have been at it since before they were freshmen. You know, this is a game where you start when you're young, if you're going to plan on being really good, unless you're just an amazing talent or something. But yeah, they've been working hard for 10, 12 years probably, you know, or some of them 10 to 12 years, and they're only 17 years old. So that tells you when they started. But yeah, I mean, it's been a progression from the time they were freshmen, you know, until now. And of course, I have some freshmen, sophomores, and juniors on the team. But I mean, the main majority of our game this year was centered around the seniors, and they really, you know, we had runner-up last year, and this year third place. So we finished. They finished their high school careers on a very strong note, and you know, even though we got third place this year, we actually had a better score this year than we did last year. But that's just how golf is. It's you know, the talent comes and goes.
Well, let's talk.
Girls have their good days and bad days.
Sure, absolutely. Let's talk about the six ladies that we have on the screen that were there with you at State, and kind of run through their names and tell us a little bit about each one of them.
Okay, well, I did. I had 2 sophomores and 4 seniors. So let's start with the sophomores. I had, if you're looking at the screen, the very small gal, the smallest one on the screen there. Her name's Riley White, and just a terrific girl. And a lot of talent there. She works, just a little bulldog. She works so hard, and to get everything out of it that she can. And she definitely showed improvement as the year went on. But so I look forward to it. And I know she's looking forward to coming back next year and building on what she's been able to help start. And then the other sophomore is Sydney Gordon. I'm not real sure which picture you're looking at, but she might be on the opposite end. But
I've got the photo of just the 6 of them on the screen right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, usually we have them sophomores on the end. So the other one is Sydney Gordon, and she's a sophomore. Like I said, again, we took some pretty raw swings to some extent, and we built on it. And their athletics, and we showed good progress throughout the year. And I told those sophomores the main thing that they need to keep in mind. Maybe they don't feel like they played that well when they compare themselves to seniors, but when those seniors were sophomores like they are, they were shooting very similar scores. So that's encouraging to them, and it's encouraging to me, you know, to know that we're kind of on the right track as far as building the next state champion or the next, you know, whatever, state contender at least.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the picture there, then we have 4 of the 5 seniors I had this year, and we'll just start with Hope Reeder. Hope has been to state 3 years. She went her sophomore year as an individual, and then and just a really tremendous talent. And all my seniors are eligible for. I mean, they're probably, hopefully, as far as I'm concerned, hopefully they'll all be playing college golf. And I know they hope. You know, she's weighing her options and seeing who wants her and that kind of thing. And she's like I said, she's just really gotten better every year, and been a rock solid, you know, starter on the team for all 4 years. And then we also had Jordan Stigman. Jordan, she's also a softball specialist. You know, she's very talented in both sports. And, you know, she's been a 3-year starter for us, but, I mean, she really came through. And this year at the state tournament, on day 1, she shot an 80. Which was number 1 on our team.
Wow.
So that was huge. Yeah, that was big. because maybe a couple of the other girls didn't have their best day. But that's the thing with our girls, that they would always pick each other up, and if one or two of them had a bad day, then the other two probably had a pretty good day. We always averaged it out around the same number, which was usually pretty good enough to win some trophies and medals. So Jordan, I'm not real sure what she's planning on doing, but probably trying to go somewhere and play softball and golf. At least that's what I hope she gets to do.
That's great.
And and then we had Brooke Bartling, and Brooke has been a starter. I think she's been a starter all 4 years also, and at least she saw some playing time her freshman year. But she's really gotten better, especially the last couple of years. I'd say that this year, if I'm not mistaken, she's probably going to end up being our most improved player on the team, and I can't imagine she wouldn't be, because her scores. I mean, actually on day 2, she had the highlight of the state run and shooting a 79. Pretty sure that's the first time she's ever shot in the 70s, especially on that big of a stage.
Wow, that's amazing.
So that was huge. And when you only win by one stroke, you always look back and say, who really played the best golf they possibly could? And she actually saved her very best for the very last round. And she actually parred 10 holes in a row at state to finish out her round. Yeah, from number 9 all the way through 18, she parred, and that's hard to do.
That's unreal. That's unreal.
State champions don't even do that kind of stuff. But she really came through, and it was great. She had a great season. And then the last one there, the other senior, and she was basically she was steady Eddie for the team all year, and that's Rachel Kell. That's my daughter, and she played a very, very good state tournament. She shot 81 and 81. I never really had to check on her. I knew she was going to be rock solid and just bring home that score for us, while I'm out fighting fires somewhere else. And I did get to watch a little bit, and I wasn't going to completely miss her senior year at state, but it was great. It's fun to coach your own daughter. I've coached my son in track too, and stuff like that. So, you don't have those opportunities all the time, and some people never have that opportunity. But it was great. It's been really, really fun to be able to do that. And she's team captain basically the last couple of years. She's we kind of tease her and call her the glue that holds the team together type of thing. So, she had a really good season. She only missed all state by 2 strokes, which is the only downfall to the whole state thing is that, after the team accolades or whatever, then you start working on those individual things. And it would have been really nice to see her crack that top 10 and make all state, but she finished 13th. But that was highest on the team, and that's a super job. And I know she's got several colleges looking at her too. So
well, that's exciting. And something you touched upon there is the fact that a lot of these girls that you're coaching on the golf team are going to have a chance to play golf at another level, and that's so important because it's a chance to continue to do what they love to do, but also get a college education at the same time, and that's so important these days, particularly with the cost of higher education.
Well, there's no doubt about it, and like I said, they can all go somewhere and play for free, and that is for sure, and then some. I'm telling you, these colleges and universities and things, a lot of times they can't fill the spots, so these scholarships go unused. And it's getting a little tougher. I mean, it is getting more competitive. Like I said, the scores are going down every year, and he's not placed in the tie. But I'm happy for them, and I hope that they do continue. I've got a wall in my classroom back at school, and all the girls that play for me and go to college, they get their individual picture up there signed by them. So
that's neat.
You never know when that next person's going to be famous somewhere, and you're going to have their signature.
Yeah, that's great, Doug. That's so cool that you do that. And so many times we focus a lot on softball and on volleyball, and that's fine. But some of these other sports like golf or cross country or something like that, there's still that opportunity for these girl athletes to excel and go on to college and again continue to do what they love to do and get that education.
Right. Yep. And they're all 4.0. Those seniors, anyway, they're all 4.0. I think pretty much my whole team. Mm-hmm. We joke about it and stuff, saying that our team GPA was higher than the Scholar Bowl, last year. And I'm pretty sure, it probably will be again. So,
that's great.
They're all 4.0 girls. So their work ethic is there, and that's probably what makes them such good golfers, such good athletes in general, because when you can work on your grades, then you can definitely work on your sport. So.
Yeah. Well, what a neat experience to be able to coach your daughter, too. And that question I have for you, who's the better golfer, you or Rachel?
Well,
depends upon what day it is, huh?
yeah, we played from the same teams before, and she has beat me. So I mean,
Wow.
but I love it. I mean,
All right.
I want her to. I consider myself a pretty decent golfer, so when she's beating me, I know she's on her game. So that's good. I like it.
Yeah. Well, what inquiring minds really want to know, though, Doug, is can you beat Wayne Hari?
Boy, I don't know. He doesn't get out there very often, but I think when he does, he usually has a pretty good time at it. And, somehow his scramble teams always seem to find themselves in the winner's circle. I don't know how that works.
Oh, how about that? Yeah, he gets him a couple of ringers on his team or something. Then it sounds like
That's probably what it is.
That's
Yeah.
probably what he's doing there. Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, we've talked about these 6 girls that went to state, but you've got some other girls that have been important people as part of your team this year too, and they're going to be, a lot of them are going to be the future of your team too. So I want to give you a chance to mention some of the other girls on your golf team this year.
Absolutely. First, I will talk about my other senior, Caitlin Simon, and kind of funny. She got a medal. You know, we presented her with the medal because she's definitely a great friend to the girls and very important on our team. But you know, we signed this big banner or something that all the girls did, and she signed it #1 fan. And we go, Caitlin, you're not a fan. I mean, come on, you're one of us. You know, you're one of the players. But she considers herself, you know, she is definitely the cheerleader on the team, and didn't get as much playing time, but definitely worked hard every time she went out there and just had a great time with the girls. And that's what it's all about, you know, when you can look back at it and say that was some of the funnest times of my life. So hopefully that's the way she looks at it, and so we're going to miss Caitlin too. Her very cheerful attitude and her way with the team. So she was the other senior. Now I do have a junior. I have one junior coming back, and that's Liz Bierman. And Liz has been working very hard. And again, she plays in all the home matches, but you know, she's been working hard to try to get that, make some of those travel squads and things. And it's tough. You know, when you have a good team, it is tough to crack that top 6 a lot of times. And but Liz works really hard, and she is looking forward to being the team captain next year, and so far the only senior that I'm going to have for next year. And I look forward to having Liz back, and I know she's going to work hard over the summer and spring and summer months. And then a couple more sophomores, well, actually a few. We have Riley Lichtefeld, SenatorLichtefeld's granddaughter, and she's a big, strong girl. You know, she's tall, and she can really generate some club head speed. We're going to get her under control as far as where the ball is going and stuff, and then she's going to start pounding it down the middle of the fairway because she's really got a lot of talent. And I know her dad plays golf. I play with him sometimes in golf, and she's got a lot of potential there, and we're going to get that harnessed, and she'll really be a contributor in the future. And then Hannah Harris, they both, Riley Lichtefeld and Hannah Harris, they got quite a bit of playing time. I tried to swap out those 2 sophomores with the 2 that are in the picture, but Hannah is, again, a great talent. Now, as they physically mature and get a little bit bigger and stronger, things will start changing for them in a good way as far as golf goes, and that's what I also saw with the seniors as they got better. But Hannah, she's a smaller gal too, but she still hits it pretty good. I mean, they all hit it good for their size, and they keep up with the competition. And we just got to work on that short game and get a little better. And but Hannah's definitely going to be a strong contributor in the future. And then I did have one other sophomore that we had was I'm just going to refer to her as Jaja. Jaja, Jaja.
Okay.
She's a foreign exchange student from Thailand, or not from Thailand. Yeah, I guess it was Thailand. And I heard that we had a foreign exchange student, and I got excited, especially from Thailand or anywhere over there in that part of the world, because they tend to, you know, make good golfers. And so I begged her to come out and hit a few balls, and she did. And she came out on the range, and man, she's got that prototypical Asian swing, and it was real pretty swing, and she just hit it down the middle every single time. So we definitely got her a uniform and had her come out and play, and I'm glad we did. I think she had a lot of fun. She didn't turn out to be my #1 golfer, which is what we were all hoping, you know, that we'd have some LPGA superstar on the team, but no, she had a good time, and she did. She actually progressed, and she got better, and she learned a little bit about the game, and that's what it's all about. Mm-hmm. So she won't be back next year, I'm assuming. I don't think they stay more than 1 year, but who knows who my next foreign exchange student might be.
Yeah, one experience for her and experience for your girls, both. I mean, that's a great experience for her and a great experience for the girls, for sure.
Well, yeah, and we had a foreign exchange student from Poland last year, and you're right. The girls, they pick each other's brains and they learn from each other, and they do. They learn a little bit more than just golf. They learn about how things happen in other parts of the world and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool to have that on the team.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then we had one freshman, Grace Rule, and her sister played, 7-8 years ago, 9 years ago, something like that for NCHS, and so she's playing, and she definitely enjoyed her time with the girls, and I'm actually standing in Oxford, Mississippi, getting ready to go to an Ole Miss game, and I'm hanging out here with her uncle. So
cool.
Yeah, so
that's
it's
cool.
a pretty tight family. But Gracie, she had a fun time. She really tried hard. She's getting better. But she's got a pretty raw swing, and we're going to work on that, and hopefully she'll be able to contribute a lot more in the future. But I like seeing those freshmen come out, and I think the last I heard, there's 3 to 4 eighth graders that are planning on playing golf, and that's what it's all about, is continuing to keep that pipeline filled up and keep the interest and get the work in the summer times.
Well, and I think when you have the success that you've had, Doug, I mean, I think that bodes well for the future, because that motivates other girls, I think, to want to be a part of that and to work hard and have that work ethic that these girls have shown, and to keep that train rolling as far as your golf program.
Well, I agree 100%. I mean, that's definitely it. And you always see the same powerhouses at state every year. And, luckily we've been able to join in that group. It's got the Massac counties and the Rockford Lutherans and the Champaign St. Thomas Moores and Bloomington Central Catholic and stuff like that. And unfortunately, for us public schoolers, you keep hearing me say like St. Thomas More and Central Catholic and this and that and everything. But us public schoolers in the South have been holding our own here the last 8 years or so. Between Massac and Nashville, we've been bringing home hardware left and right, and I hope we can continue to represent the South that way.
Yeah. Well, I can't let you go without giving us a weather report from Mississippi. What's it like down there today?
Well, I am standing out on the back porch of a house that's been rented, and it's sunny. It's not very windy. It's just beautiful. It's already probably in the low 70s. It's going to get up to the low 80s. Man, looking forward to a fun time today, and hopefully the Ole Miss Rebels can bring home a victory. We got Nashville native Royce Newman playing for him, so hopefully he'll see a bunch of snaps. And, I came down with his dad also. His dad's here. So
fantastic.
We're looking forward to it. A lot of Nashville people make the trip these days, and for good reason. We got one out on the field there, so it's going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, that is great, and I hope that he has a good game today, and I hope that Ole Miss is able to pull that out. Sounds like a lot of fun. All right.
It will be.
Well, Doug, thanks so much for joining us on the Sports Couch this morning, and thanks for sharing with us about the success of your girls' golf team. And, again, tip of the cap to you and to them on third-place finish this year in the state. Again, great accomplishment, and hope that you can keep it going. And have yourself a great weekend, all right?
I will. Thanks for having me on, and hopefully we can have these conversations like every year.
Oh, I hope so. That would be great. Okay, Doug.
All right.
Thank you. All righty. Bye-bye. That's Doug Kell. He is the girls golf coach there at Nashville, and third place this year at the state golf tournament. And, boy, they've got a great program going on there in girls golf at Nashville. And again, as you heard us allude to, the fact that, here's an opportunity for girls to continue to do what they want to do and enjoy doing and do it at the next level. When you hone your game and you get the skill level at that point, you can, get a college education by playing a game that you love like golf. And so much we focus on, softball and volleyball for girls, and nothing wrong with that, certainly. But you've got other opportunities like golf and cross country and track and field and things like that sometimes are overlooked by some female athletes. And the same opportunities exist there for girls to get a college education and do something they enjoy doing, into their college years. And certainly a lot of those Nashville girls have been able to do that and will continue to be able to do that, certainly the girls from that team this year. So congratulations to Doug. It's great to have him on the show this morning. When we come back, we're going to talk girls junior high basketball, all right? As it's that season, that's right. The Hamilton County Lady Foxes have already played 3 games. We'll talk to Coach Robert Crow. Coming up next, stay tuned.
It's the local sports talk show that everyone is talking about. It's the Sports Couch on 90.9 The Vine and AreaSports.net.
Prominent Technologies in McLeansboro is an underwriting supporter of The Vine. Chad May and Prominent Technologies specialize in computer and laptop repair, IT system upgrades, virus protection software, digital security camera installation, and on-location consulting. Prominent Technologies are computer problem solvers, and they have a long list of satisfied customers. Their phone number is 643-7114, and they are located just north of the square in McLeansboro.
105.5 and 90.9 The Vine thanks Wibbles Repair and Sales in McLeansboro for their monthly underwriting support of local Christian radio. They repair small engines and ag equipment, and they sell small engine parts, including oil filters and belts. They have agriculture aftermarket parts, interstate batteries, big truck parts, and truck lighting. As Steel and Husqvarna dealers, they offer a wide variety of chainsaws, trimmers, and cut-off saws. Wibbles Repair and Sales in McLeansboro. Their phone number, 618-648-2227. Open Monday through Friday, Saturdays till noon. Hamilton County Flooring on the south side of the square in McLeansboro offers a full line of flooring, cabinets, and countertops for your home or business. Countertops or showers are available in granite, quartz, corian, custom marble, or ceramic tile. Their showroom includes a complete line of flooring available in ceramic tile, cork, bamboo, hardwood, vinyl, laminate, and carpeting, including name brands such as Armstrong, Bruce, Marazzi, Mulligan, Shaw, and Tarkett. We thank Hamilton County Flooring in McLeansboro for their support. Welcome back to the Sports Couch. You're live on a Saturday morning on 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine Radio, and also streaming live worldwide on both of our websites. We have live video streaming right now at AreaSports.net and live audio streaming at WVYN.org. I'm Randy Olson, live in studio, and yeah, we're flying solo again today as Danny is in the field trying to wrap up that harvest season, and hopefully he'll be back with us here soon. But we are going to talk to somebody from Hamilton County right now, and that is the head coach of the girls junior high basketball team, the Hamilton County Lady Foxes. That's Robert Crow. He joins us now. Good morning, Robert. How are you?
I'm doing very well, and you?
Great. Good to have you on the Sports Couch. I think this is your first time visit with us, too, and we appreciate you being on. And you've already played 3 basketball games, haven't you?
Yes, we have. We host a preseason tournament, and we got off to a pretty good start. It was a really good tournament this week.
So 2-1, I believe, is what Danny had told me. Is that right?
That is correct. We defeated a good Gallatin County team. We lost to a very good El Dorado team in a tough, hard-fought battle, and then we beat another really, really good team, Harrisburg, in another really hard-fought ball game.
Yeah, well, Harrisburg's probably got larger enrollment than you have, too, so that's a big school.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a big win for your program, I would say. All right. So talk a little bit about your team and run through some of your girls if you'd like to, okay?
Okay. Well, we returned 8 eighth graders that had a pretty successful 7th grade season, and we started with Caroline Leakey and Chloe Braden, Daisy Webb, Danny Rubenacker, Maddie Karcher, Tinsley Wellen, and J.C. Wellen, and that's the nucleus of the team. And then we've got some 7th graders that come in and played very well for us. Kaylee Karcher, Carson Belangi, Sydney Downen. Then we've got Ellie Dean, and it's just a real good group of girls. They worked hard. They've been successful in everything they've done. This group of girls went to the state softball tournament and finished in 4th place, which kind of gave us a little bit of a problem to start basketball season. We only had 1 week of practice before we played our first game, so we've been kind of behind the 8 ball. But they've responded well. They work hard. They've taken to the change in levels between 6th grade and junior high, and they're just a good group of girls.
You know, you make a very good point there, Robert. I mean, that's a big adjustment quickly trying to flip over and go from softball to basketball and really not have as much time to prepare as what you'd like to have before your first games because of the success they had with softball. But it seems like the girls have adjusted well.
Well, we had a really good summer. The kids came in pretty consistently, and we got to put a lot of our base offense and defensive concepts in. And so when the softball season ended, we went right into conditioning and trying to put some final touches on things before we played. So like I said, they're a good group. They work really hard, and they're also a very smart group, and that helps.
Conditioning is a big thing in basketball too, and it's different than the kind of conditioning that you do for softball, because you're getting up and down the court so rapidly and so much in basketball, and you've really got to build up that stamina. And so that requires running a lot of sprints and killers and different things like that to prepare for a basketball season, doesn't it?
It really does. It really does. And the kids, we've worked them hard. We've done a lot of extra running, pre-practice and post-practice, and they're fine with it. They know what it takes to be successful, and they're willing to do it. So.
Well, talk about your schedule coming up, and are you in some other tournaments as the season goes on? Just kind of tell us what's ahead for the Lady Foxes.
Well, we play again Thursday on the road at Sesser, which is a high school floor, and it's always a very tough place to play. Dana Lauer's their coach, and she does a wonderful job with them. And then our conference is very competitive with Christopher, who's always really good. Goreville's really good. Johnson City is on an upswing. So our conference itself is always a battle. And then in the mid-season, right before Christmas, we play at West Frankfort in a tournament that is always very competitive with West Frankfort, and I believe they've added Johnson City this year. So we don't have a lot of nights where we can think about even possibly taking it easy. We've got to get after it every night, and that really helps us when it comes postseason time.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's also been a lot of success for Lady Foxes basketball at the high school level, and I'm sitting here wondering, your junior Lady Foxes, do they enjoy going and watching the older girls play at the high school, and do they often do that?
Oh, most of the time they do. My wife and I like to go watch the kids that played for us in the past, and we are almost always surrounded by our current girls watching our past girls, and it's very enjoyable, and they like to get out and support them, and they like to go watch the boys play too. In our tournament the other night, our junior high boys got behind the bench and got a cheering section going, and it really gave us a lot of energy.
That's neat. How many years have you been at the helm there, the junior Lady Foxes, Robert?
This is my 19th year at the junior high.
Wow. That's a long time. Yeah, that's a lot of dedication and a lot of time spent in the gym, that's for sure. Yeah, that's fantastic. And that's got to be a cool feeling, too, when you're at those high school games and watching girls play, like you said, that you coached in junior high, and now you're watching them in high school, but yet you got your current junior high girls around you. That's got to be a neat experience.
It is. It's we believe in community, and I talk to the girls about getting out and supporting the other teams, and community is important to us, so they buy into it and they do it.
And when you see the girls have success at the high school level, that probably motivates your junior high girls that much more to want to continue to have success not only with you, but to move on and have continued success at the high school level. It's a good motivation, I would think.
I believe it is. I think, growing up in a small town that is a basketball community, growing up you always wanted to wear that green and white and play on the same floor as Jerry Sloan and those guys did. And now the girls are seeing the success at the high school level, and they want to grow up and wear the green and white and play on the same floor that high school kids are.
And I think there's some great anticipation this year for what the girls have the potential to do at the high school level this year. I think a lot of people are looking forward to that high school season beginning as well.
I believe they are, and Coach Weimler does a great job with those kids. They work hard and play hard for them, and that's all you can really ask.
So you said you got a game coming up this Thursday. Is that what you said? Is that a home game?
Yes, sir. No, it is
That's
on
right.
the road at Sesser.
That's right. You told me that. Okay, when's the next home game? So when's an opportunity for fans to see your girls play?
Well, the next home game will be, it is Monday the 6th.
Okay, November 6th. Okay, so Monday,
Yeah.
November 6th. Who's the opponent then?
Right. It's a Unity Point.
Okay.
Unity Point. It's a 5:30 start. It's a little bit earlier because of their travel.
Right, yeah, they have pretty good travel to get there for that. Yeah, okay. So, fans, if you are listening right now and you want to see these Junior Lady Foxes play, who've started off 2-1, you can see them play at home on Monday, November 6th. Unless you want to make the trip this Thursday to Sesser, which we encourage you to do that too, because you love to have fans travel with you, don't you?
Oh, yes. And traditionally we do travel well, but we could always use extra fans.
Sure. All right. Anything else you want to add, Robert, that maybe I didn't ask you or we didn't cover about your Junior Lady Foxes basketball program this morning?
No, other than if you get a chance, come out and watch them because they're pretty exciting. They play with a smile on their face, and they don't understand the word quit. They get after it. So.
That's great. That is great. All right. Well, we appreciate your time this morning on the Sports Couch. Have yourself a good weekend, and hopefully we'll talk to you down the line, okay?
Okay. Well, thank you for having me on.
You bet. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
That's Robert Crow. He is the head coach of the Junior Lady Foxes from Hamilton County. They're off to a 2-1 start, and they've had a lot of success there. And looking forward to having another good season this year. And, that then transcends into the high school. And, hey, that's how you build a successful program is starting young. And so having Robert in place there at the junior high is pretty important. And certainly he's had some success there. And how cool that is to see those girls go on and play in high school, and then he has a chance to go see them play in high school, and then his current girls have a chance to go and watch, and one thing leads to another, and that's so cool. And then that's also what's so neat about sports in a small town like McLeansboro, and any of these other communities around here too. Fairfield, Flora, Blueford, Sesser, Wootton, Lawn, Waltonville, it's all the same. I mean, it's just neat, the camaraderie and the community that you have through grade school and high school sports. There's really nothing else like it. And the larger communities that don't have that sort of feel, they're missing out. They really are, because it's quite different. All right, well, we don't have too much time left here on the show this morning, but I do want to talk about the fact that we got a pretty important Game 7 taking place tonight in the American League Championship Series in Major League Baseball. The Yankees and the Astros will be going at it as Houston pulled it out last night behind Verlander, 7-1. So tonight it is, 7 o'clock is the first pitch. Sabathia will be back on the mound for the Yankees, and Morton will be pitching for Houston in Game 7 tonight. And the winner, of course, will be taking on the L.A. Dodgers in the World Series, as the Dodgers were able to eliminate the Cubs in 5 games. Earlier this week. In college football action today, you've got number 5 Wisconsin at home against Maryland. Also, you've got number 8 Miami at home against Syracuse. My Michigan State Spartans are at home taking on Indiana, and Sparty is ranked 18th now. Don't make fun of me there, Danny. Got to talk about Sparty. Also, while we're talking about Sparty, the preseason rankings have come out for college basketball. And guess what? Sparty is preseason ranked number 2. That's right. Michigan State preseason ranked number 2 in college basketball. Can't wait for that to start. Number 9, Oklahoma on the road today at Kansas State in college football. Notre Dame and USC will square off today in Notre Dame, and both those teams are ranked. The Irish are ranked 13th. USC is ranked 11th. Number 2, Penn State is at home against Michigan. That will be a big game today in the Big Ten for sure. Number 4, TCU is at home against Kansas. And number 15, Washington State is at home against Colorado. Number 1, Alabama at home against Tennessee. And let's see, what else? Check out some other ones. Of course, I was talking to Doug Kell from Nashville, the golf coach, a little bit ago. He's down in Mississippi today, where Ole Miss is taking on LSU, and that'll be a good matchup in the SEC. LSU is actually ranked 24th. Number 21, Auburn is on the road at Arkansas today as well. And Missouri is playing a football game out of the conference today. It's not an SEC opponent, as Mizzou is at home today against Idaho. And what else? Well, how about National Hockey League action? As the Blues were actually off last night, but they will be in action tonight as they are in Las Vegas tonight. Blues are off to a 6-2 start on the season, so they'll take on Vegas tonight, who is 5-1. So that should be a good matchup. Of course, our time that would start at about 9:30, since it's being played out there in Vegas. And again, back to the high school football playoff situation. Again, the IHSA playoff selection show is tonight at 8 o'clock, and we'll just have to wait and see who the opponents will be for Fairfield and for Sesser. Again, some possibilities still loom as Vienna has a big game this afternoon against Carmi. Let me get to that here real quick. As Vienna has 36 playoff points coming into that game. Certainly, if Vienna wins today against Carmi, that would give them 41 playoff points, which would definitely put them in the playoffs. But they have to beat Carmi to get in. Mount Carmel, they are 5-4, but really it doesn't look like that Mount Carmel will get into the playoffs with that 5-4 record because they only have 33 playoff points. Probably not going to be enough. West Frankfort, they're also on the bubble. They lost last night to Nashville. Had they won last night, they certainly would have been in. But because West Frankfort lost to Nashville last night, they dropped to 5-4. And again, 5-4 makes you eligible but doesn't guarantee you a playoff spot. And West Frankfort, with that loss last night, they have 34 playoff points. The cutoff is going to be somewhere around, 34, 35, or 36, more than likely. Hillsboro, they have 35 playoff points. They're 6-3. They're in. Marshall's got 36 playoff points. They're in at 6-3. Somebody else I did not mention when I was talking to Coach Townsend and Coach Shadowens this morning is East Alton Wood River. I don't think they would be a first-round opponent, but they could be an opponent maybe in the second round. Who knows? East Alton Wood River, they were winners last night. They are 7-2. And let's see, they have 36 playoff points, but certainly they're in because of the fact that they've won 7 games. So that's a possible opponent down the road. DuQuoin is in at 7-2. Vandalia's in at 7-2. Greenville's in at 7-2. And then, of course, you've got Newton, Carlinville, and Sesser all at 8-1 in Class 3A. And AJ and Fairfield are both 9-0. Carlinville was probably going to be the number 1 seed had they won last night, but because they lost last night, dropped to 8-1. There's many people who think that Fairfield will be the number 1 seed, and I would have a tendency to agree with that. AJ, though, coming out of that River Conference, I mean, they could be the number 1 seed overall too because they play some tough competition there in that river to river. And then back to the discussion of 4A football, where the Effingham Hearts will fall. Effingham, again, will be in that 4A bracket at 8-1. Heron is 8-1. Taylorville's 8-1. Belleville-Althoff's 8-1. You got Rochester at 9-0. And as we were talking to Coach Brett Hefner from Effingham this morning, we were talking about the fact that Highland may be dropping down into 4A. And if so, they'll drop down as an undefeated team. So that could change the whole shakeup of things in 4A if they do. Carterville is in 4A at 7-2. Paris is in at 6-3. Columbia, Benton, and Mount Zion are all 5-4. I think that Benton and Mount Zion will get in. They have 41 playoff points. Well, Benton has 41. Mount Zion has 39. Columbia, let me check and see here. Where does Columbia fall at as far as the playoff points? I'll just try to figure that out here for you real fast. Columbia, they lost last night to drop to 5-4, and they have 40 playoff points. So, yeah, they probably will get in at 5-4. So, you never know what the IHSA is going to do, but you would think that Effingham's first-round opponent would probably be either Mount Zion, Benton, or Columbia. But, again, that remains to be seen. As far as area teams that are in it in Class 2A, let's talk about that just a little bit. Trenton-Westland is 9-0. They will be definitely one of the heavy favorites in Class 2A. You've got Pana, who is in there at actually Pana lost last night to Vandalia, so Pana comes in at 7-2 in Class 2A. El Dorado won theirs last night over Johnson City, so They are in at 7-2. Those would be kind of the area teams, I guess, that would be for sure in. Carmi, of course, that gets such a big game today for them in Vienna. Not only a big game if Vienna wins, but it's a big game for Carmi, too, because they're sitting at 5-3, and they can get in for sure if they win to go 6-3. If they lose and stay 5-4, well, they probably would get in because they would have 39 playoff points, but you never know. Carlisle, they are in the playoffs at 6-3, and it's a good thing they won last night, because had they lost last night and would have been 5-4, I don't think they would have got in, because they would have only had 31 playoff points. But because they won last night over Pinckneyville and go 6-3, Carlisle should be in Class 2A. Redbud is also in at 6-3 after having beat Sparta last night. So those are kind of the area teams that are in as far as Class 2A. Chester would be another one. After beating Edwards County last night, Chester has 39 playoff points, sitting at 5-4, so that should get them in Class 2A. 1A, we don't really have anybody close to us here. Red Hill, if you want to call them close, certainly are in at 9-0, and they would be one of the favorites in Class 1A. But aside from Red Hill, that's it in Class 1A football. So that's kind of your playoff scenario for the time being, and we'll all find out for sure how it plays out later on tonight with the IHSA playoff show that starts at 8 o'clock. Hey, I want to thank you for joining us today on the Sports Couch. Hope that you enjoyed all the guests that we had with us, and certainly we do thank them for being on, and thank all of our sponsors as usual as well for being a part of the broadcast here on the Sports Couch. You can check out all the scores from the area from last night on our sports website at AreaSports.net. And if you're just tuning in right now and you missed the show or missed part of the show and are saying, doggone it, I wanted to hear that interview with so-and-so, well, give us just a little bit and we'll have it archived on our sports website at AreaSports.net, so you can go back and check out the archive. All right, great. That's going to wrap things up. Have yourself a great day. Enjoy this beautiful weather that we've been blessed with, and we'll talk to you next Saturday morning here on the Sports Couch. So long, everyone.
This is your home for best Christian music.
WVYN, Blueford, Wayne City, Fairfield, Mount Vernon.
And now on Translator, W288CO Centralia, broadcasting at 105.5.
A service of Real Life Radio Foundation.
The best Christian music.